Hi, Manuel. This is Valerie. Just capturing a couple of follow-ups related to invoice processing for each and every. I thought I would do a quick reminder video of how we do the end-to-end processing of the invoices, since, as you may remember, for the past week, so like October 25th till today, November 3rd, we were all locked out of the each and every accounts payable email address due to secondary verification that none of us could get to work. So earlier this morning, we all got together and fixed that. And obviously there is a handful of invoices, and I had told Laura that I would help catch up the inbox quickly, since I would be able to do that quickly for you to get it cleaned up. And then I will leave you a handful of invoices so that you can then work through it. And then if you have any questions, you can let me know. But this video is to capture just one more time kind of a quick end-to-end process of preparing the invoices to both load into our offline spreadsheet, as well as to load into bill.com for the each and every team to be able to process the invoice. I'm going to go ahead and go off camera only because I'm working off my laptop as I'm out of town and recording this video, and I don't have two screens, so it's a little bit easier for me to see stuff. And we'll go from there. I'll go ahead and share my screen so that you can actually see what I'm doing. And right now I have this workbook open, which is our kind of running offline forecast, or excuse me, I just finished my other role, my forecast role. So this is the fiscal year 25-26 monthly invoice batches for each and every. This is located on the team space. I have it tagged or pinned to my Excel, since I'm pretty much in here every day, almost multiple times during the day, depending on how many times I might process invoices for each and every. But this file is located on the SharePoint. If you go to E&E Payment Reports, it's under the fiscal year 25-26, and it's this main report. I had to send another version of this to Laura Lozano as it related to month-end close and accruals, just as a kind of a separate backup for her. But the main file is the one I'm using right here. And we will go to the inbox. So I'm on the outstanding invoice tab. This has been, was cleaned up through the end of last week as it relates to invoices and kind of where they are in the queue. So everything matches bill.com. I'm going to actually go ahead and log into Bill, which I should have done before I started the video. But I do want to show you a couple of reminders or things like tips and tricks that I learned along the way, as well as showing you the end-to-end process that we completed a couple weeks ago. But before I have you start the process, I'll just capture it one more time as kind of a refresher, and then also help get you caught up in the inbox a little quicker, and then leave you a couple invoices, which I know I said all that already. But okay, so we are in bill.com here momentarily. One of the things that you'll be able to see on this overview screen, which is kind of a nice touch point, if you will, is bill approvals. So this is user one or approver one in the process. So Juan or JJ has 17 invoices still to approve that are 10 plus days old. A lot of times he will have invoices outstanding for a bit because they are related to product supply, and he's having to manage or look and to confirm a whole bunch of different things. And then Taylor has 2 outstanding. I know she was recently on vacation as well. But one kind of quick check is you can easily do completion of 25%, which means all that's done is it's been uploaded and it's pending approval. And then if you do, for example, JJ, it shows 18 are needing to be approved. There's currently 17 listed out here, so he must have actually approved something here recently. You don't necessarily need to do this, but let's just go ahead and get something cleaned up. So a bunch of units and 1 Federal and 2 CLETA. So let's just see. JJ had a bunch of units, 2 CLETA, and it looks like he might have approved this one. So I'm just out of curiosity, just for sake of some things that I do as examples, we will search for that invoice and see that it is in fact still unpaid, but that JJ did approve it, and he did approve it this morning. So as I had mentioned, when I checked this yesterday, I was up to date, but he did approve that this morning. So Voyant is now approved pending payment release. So it's 50% of the way through the queue, if you will, meaning that JJ has approved of the invoice itself and the work, and that it's basically sitting waiting for Lauren to then release the payment, or said differently, approve it to be released based on the invoice due date. So in this case, if Lauren were to release or approve the release of this payment, it wouldn't actually be paid until November 21st. So it would be in the queue, ready to go by November 21st. So that's good. That's now that. If I then just update this, you'll see I've filtered for JJ's name, and it says that there's 17, it's counting 17 invoices or 17 items. And if you go back to the overview screen in bill.com, you will notice that it says 17 are listed for waiting for JJ's first approval of the work. I'll go back here and I will click on just Taylor as the invoice approver, and it shows 2 and 2. So for right now, as it relates to the first approver being update in this file, we are good to go. I tend to do that kind of after I do a whole bunch of invoices, like uploading, or if I get a report that says a handful of stuff has been scheduled or has been processed. That's kind of when I try to get this file up to date, just so that my offline file, in essence, tries to mirror bill.com, like where the invoice is in the process of being processed. Sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to process some invoices from the inbox, just to kind of go through this again. And let's do this. One more. Oh, well, and actually that was what I was going to do anyway. So you will, once you start loading directly into bill.com, you will get an email on every bill that you load into the system as a notification of something happening on that bill or on that invoice. Depending on how you have your notifications set up in bill.com. In actuality, that was one of the things I was going to do with this one, is show you the Voyant. So I got this email in my inbox, my personal P&G email address inbox, not in the accounts payable inbox, that says, reminder to schedule a payment to Voyant Beauty, Inc. What that meant was this particular invoice was in fact approved by the first approver, being JJ, and now it's a reminder in essence to me as the enterer of that invoice to go and schedule a payment to Voyant. And what that means is it is now in the queue waiting for that, quote, second approver. In reality, what each and every does is has a second individual, quote, release the payment for when it is due. So in the case this one, the due date is November 21st. Like I had just mentioned a minute ago, when Lauren goes and releases the payment, it won't release it until it is due, but it will sit in the queue waiting for that date. Where I had said earlier, I was up to date. I kind of forgot that I was going to show you this. But anyway, what I do with these particular emails, you don't really need to save them because obviously everything is in the system. But for now, I have a folder that I have kept, which is referencebill.com, and pretty much everything related to bill in that folder. Okay, so this was the inbox that we all finally got into again this morning. And for now, I'm going to just close a couple of these other items that I have tagged. So there are 30 emails in some shape or form that are new since the last time I logged in here, which was over a week ago because we all got locked out because of the password process. I have kind of quickly checked a couple of these. I'm not going to open up this one. This is a new vendor, and they're sending us the vendor file to set them up. I'm going to hold off on that one just for right now. And I'm going to do a couple, I will say, quote, easy ones just to demonstrate them on video. And then I'll do a handful more off video and then let you know when you are ready to go. So you can enter, excuse me, you can enter items however you like, however it makes sense to you. This is a federal package invoice that I accidentally closed the email. So you'll see FP Labs federal package. That's federal package. This is the invoice number. It's just easier to copy and paste it into the Excel spreadsheet than having to type it up again. It also depends on if I have two monitors or if I'm working on my laptop as to how I will copy and paste stuff or just type things out. Again, federal package, it's an invoice. I'm going to get all of the details I can before I send it to Bill for processing. So invoiced, kind of interesting. It says due upon receipt, which is not normal for federal. What I am going to do here is this shows $2,555.01. And I apologize if you can hear that. I'm at my cousin's house who has dogs and they are starting to bark. I might go on mute here for a minute. So 2,555.01. I'm going to type that number in, 2,555.01, and give me a second so I can get them to settle down. Hold on. Okay. Hopefully that didn't record me trying to get them to calm down. Okay, so this was invoiced on October 24th, and the reason why I was slightly confused is because it's not October 24th, but this is when it was emailed. again, due to we were all locked out of the email. So October 24th, this is also said when it was invoiced. I'm going to go ahead and put that over here. It automatically populates with the 30 days of November 23rd. And I'm also going to look at, a lot of times they'll help me out here with some details. So first September scrap. Again, this is kind of more for yourself as to what the invoice was for. And you can kind of see that when you scroll through it, which federal tends to have long invoices. So chargeback fee, unscented, they were scrapping various scents, it looks like, and lavender, or excuse me, and oils that needed to be scrapped. Again, we saw 2,555.01 as the total. This is not normal where it says due upon receipt. I'm going to go ahead and leave it as 30 days. In theory, that could always be changed in the back end if for some reason we really needed to send that due upon receipt. Again, that's not normal. I'm going to just kind of indicate for right this moment while I'm working, ready to post, meaning that I'm going to go back over here and then I'm going to quote forward or send this invoice to each and every at bill.com, which will then send it on or send it into bill.com for me to process it there. For right now, just because of how I manage my inboxes, whether it's my personal work one or this one, I go ahead and I kind of get it out of, if you will, the working inbox and just tag it as ready to load, meaning that I'm in the process of working on it. And so you'll see now that that invoice is tagged down here as ready to load, meaning that in fact it should be over here in bill.com. Just going to check that this is still being shared and recorded, which it is. There we go. Let's see the reminder. And then we will do a couple more. I'll do some, like I said, just easy ones for right now. So studio case invoice 5750. I'm going to go over to the spreadsheet, start typing in studio case. It should pop up. And then 5750 is the invoice number. The date of the invoice is probably around October 27th, which it is, because that's when the email was dated. So October 27, 25, it automatically brings over the date that it's due, which sometimes I do check that I'm getting the same answer that they're showing on their invoice as November 26, 2025. The amount is for $2,422.50, $2,422.50. And then the why, I just again, or what the invoice is for, copy that into the description for myself. And that's all I needed from the physical invoice. Going back to the email, I will hit forward and each and every. I will send that. And then I'm going to tag this as ready to load because it's in my spreadsheet. I want it out of my inbox. I have sent it to bill.com. In case for whatever reason I get distracted or like someone calls me or I get in the middle of something, at least I know I've already sent these via email to Bill. They're in my spreadsheet, and then it's a matter of going to Bill to process them. I'm going to do one or two more here just for sake of the video and additional different kind of emails or different invoice types that we get. Rachel is one of those ones that we try to process the day we do get the invoice. Again, we were locked out, so I'm going to go ahead and get this one in kind of as quickly as I can. Her invoice number we use as the dates of her work. We also use as invoice date the date of the email. So in this case, she emailed it to us on October 27th. Use that as the starting point of the 15 days for her. I'm going to go get the amount, and because it's a picture, it says 1782. And this is her timesheet. It's a picture. I don't really put anything in the invoice description just because it is in fact her timesheet. I'm going to put ready to post 1782. I'm going to come back over here. I'm actually going to email it to eachandeverybill.com for processing. I'm going to tag it. Again, this is just for myself in case something comes up in the middle of me doing this. It's more of my sanity check so that it's not sitting, if you will, in what I call for myself the current inbox, where something is waiting to be processed. I'm also going to do another federal while I'm here. This was sent on Friday, the 31st. Also showing as invoice is Friday, or excuse me, October 31st. This says due upon receipt. Again, I'm not certain why they're showing that because that's not our contractual terms. I'm going to go ahead and get this as the description, and the amount is 7687.93. 7687.93. 7687.93. Sorry, working off of one monitor here. Again, I'm going to close it as ready to post or tag it as that. And then I'm going to close the invoice, go back to the email, hit forward, email to each and every, hit send. I'm going to tag this as ready to load as reference. I'm going to do a stored invoice from last Tuesday, the 28th. I'm going to grab this, go back over here, going to type in stored until it pops up, going to insert the invoice number. This was October 28th. October 28th with a due date. Monthly fee Everything we do is pretty much 30 days. I'm going to leave that be, even though that seems like it's showing 15. Um, Software, November 2025, monthly fee for $5,000. And then I'm going to do ready to post. What I will say that relates to due dates, unless told otherwise, everything for each and every is, in fact, a 30-day payment term, except for Rachel Combs, who is a 15-day payment term. And then I believe Cincinnati Children's Hospital, I think they do like 75 days. I think I actually have an invoice from them. So yeah, here's an invoice from Cincinnati Children's. I'm going to go ahead and process that one too. I normally don't pick and choose from the inbox as to which ones I will upload and work on. Sometimes I do if I'm trying to get a handful of them done quickly and I know that they're easy ones to do. You'll get used to which ones are easier than others, require less effort. Maybe to kind of get them up and running, other people can do their job. Yeah, so this one is net 75. I believe that's what we also have in our payment terms in bill. So 1264.06, 1264.06, and the due or the invoice date is 10/30/25. And I'm just gonna go over here out of curiosity to see if what I'm saying to you on video is in fact truthful. So we'll look up for a quick minute Children's Hospital, and we've gone ahead and loaded 60 days. Therefore, it gets there a couple of days early. No big deal. That's just what we've done, and I'll do that same thing in bill. Ready to post, and then I'll come back over here. Ooh, I forgot. This is for September services. And I might have still here handy, potentially, let's see if I already, and I don't. A lot of times what I'll try to do is just copy like what I typed in last month for them. So I'm going to unhide October just to kind of show you what I mean by that. So I'm pretty sure we paid them last month. And so I'm just going to copy what I typed last time for them to attempt to make my life a little bit easier. But again, this is only for yourself. So it's not mass critical to be super precise on that invoice description. But you can see here, this right here tells you it's for September 2025 services. I could have just copied it from there as well. I'm going to hit save just because I can't remember when I last saved this. Ready to post for Children's Services, Children's Hospital. I'm going to hit forward. I'm going to do each. Now my computer wants to freeze, of course. Each and every at bill.com. I'm going to hit send. I'm going to tag this one as ready to load. I'm going to close that and studio. And then over here, it will show that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 invoices that should show up when we log into bill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that we said we are ready to load into bill, we will go over here. We will log back in. We'll see what's up. I'm just going to do a refresh since I had logged in before we started. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is suggesting that it's a duplicate bill number. So interesting. So this was the one that we started with, the 05441. Just for curiosity, anything is possible, I guess. Let me go back over here and go to I'm gonna search for federal. There's a couple different ways that you can look up bills, for example. So we're looking for an invoice number that is 2025, so this current year, 05441. 05441 for the September scrap. For 25501. 25501. And you'll notice this is a different invoice looking to it. We've already approved this. Already approved, and I think we've already paid this. All right, well, this one actually is slightly questionable, and I know why. They sent this to us for payment processing back in September with payment terms of 1%, 15 days off, like you get 1% off if you pay within 15 days, or otherwise it's full price at net 30. I'm actually going to hold off on that one. Sorry about that. But a good training exercise, because we did just submit this one for payment. And the one good thing about bill.com is that it's recognizing the invoice number as duplicate, but you'll also notice that they sent it again on October 24th with a complete different vendor, or excuse me, a complete different invoice look to it for the same amount, but also payable upon receipt without the payment terms. So I am going to click on this one. I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to deal with that one offline, and I will copy you on that. I am going to I'm pretty sure that this one has already showed up on my October payment if I pull the right invoice information. So this was already paid with a slight discount on it, which I will have to go over that one with you. I am going to make a notation on this one. So I'm going to tag this one as an issue waiting for review, and I'm going to tag it with red, and then I'm going to put some comments over here. Note, this invoice is a duplicate invoice number from federal. Note, this new invoice has more details and is, I don't know if, I mean, this is a little bit more information, but has more details and is a different invoice view than the first invoice received with same number. Going to deal with this question via email to federal and to JJ offline. Deleted this duplicate invoice number from bill.com. Just so we know what we did. An interesting little item for the video. Okay, so then we're going to go and try and process a handful of these pretty quickly. I know what this is. I'm going to deal with this later. Studio case, we just submitted or just sent it to be entered into bill.com. So again, similar that we went through before when we did the end-to-end, but your bill should pick up the majority of this stuff from the invoice itself. All you're doing is making sure that everything that is in fact on the right-hand side of the screen is what you want and intend for this invoice to be paid. So studio case is being picked up properly. The invoice number is being picked up properly. The net payment terms is being picked up based on the default that is behind the scenes on the vendor. You can always change it if something comes up, but again, it's on net 30. It's in behind the scenes. The invoice date is October 27th. That's coming from right there. I see now that it also helps you see which one it's pulling from, or that it is pulling from the invoice directly when it is highlighted green. The due date is showing November 26th. The amount is coming from there. The bill description, however, is coming from the last one that you used. And in this case, I'm going to delete that one that we used the last time, and then I'm going to hover over this line in order to try to get the whole line to pick up. Sometimes you have to get it just right. And there you go. You click on it, and then you can bring it over. The one-time payment. I don't know why it's showing on like a split line, but I don't need to put anything in there. And then Lauren is the first approver, and that should show up in your spreadsheet as well. I'm going to go back over here to that studio case, and in fact, Lauren is showing up as the first approver of the invoice. I'm going to hit create bill. That will automatically get it out of the inbox in bill.com. And I can go ahead and if I want to do it one by one, I can do uploaded pending approval. So it's 25% through the queue. Rachel, I'm going to do the same thing. So Rachel Cortez pulled it in for the vendor name. The invoice number is the one where you have to type this one in because it's not pulling what we like to pull in for that invoice number because there really isn't an easy way for it to do that. It's net 15. The invoice date we said is October 27th because we go by when we get the email from her. So October 27th. November 11th, that's there. 1782 is the amount, so that is picking up. 1782, and Allison should be the first approver, which she is showing up. Allison is the first approver. I'm going to go ahead and hit create bill. Let that process. Come back over here. And the next federal, 5619. They should end up in the order in which you sent them an email, which they do. So here's the invoice number. There's a PO number that it's picking up on. It's not critical, or for us, we don't really have a PO number with them. It's kind of on their side, but we'll let it be because it's pulling from this number right here. Payment term we're going to keep as 30. Invoice date is the 31st. It's picking that up. The due date we'll say the November 30th. Again, it's picking up the previous bill description. So what I'm going to do is actually try to pick up this whole line item by hovering over it. Sometimes you have to move your cursor a couple times and it may not pick it up completely. There we go. So it's going to pick up some stuff I don't want or don't need. So I'm just going to do that. All good. And then again, the total amount is $7,687.93. That's where that's picking that up. Due date, invoice date is all good. And JJ is your first approver. I'm going to hit create bill. It was saved successfully. Going to go back over here. Say that that was uploaded and pending approval. Go back over here. Stored is the next one. I'm going to hit enter bill. Again, that picks it up pretty easily. The invoice number is picking up properly. It's net 30 as a default for the vendor. The invoice date is October 28th. The due date is picking it up, or excuse me, is calculating it. Again, this is bill description from a previous invoice, so I'm going to pick up, if I can hover just right. Otherwise, you can also just type it in if it's easier. Sometimes it is, because you can't always get exactly the thing, but when you can, it's nice. Software monthly fee, and we're going to do November 2025 because that's what's showing up here as invoice notes. The amount is 5,000. We're going to scroll down and it's going to be JJ, and we're going to hit create. I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. And then the last one that I'm going to deal with for this video as a reminder reference only on how to do this is Children's Hospital. It's picking up the invoice number. I said we had payment terms of 60. I'm going to go ahead and update that. I think the default on this one, we set it up as each and every normal default. And then I think over the past couple of months of me owning this, I asked Taylor, hey, this says net 75. Like, why aren't we just paying them on their payment terms versus ours? So we can do that. And it's still going to be early to them because their payment terms is net 75. This one is going to be just as easy. Instead of deleting the whole thing, I'm just going to change the month because it's for September. That is our account number with them. I don't think that really shows up on this invoice, but it's behind the scenes. And again, it's 1,264.06. And it's going to go to Taylor, and I'm going to hit create bill. So the 5 invoices that we kind of processed out of the inbox and kind of tagged them as ready to post, we've posted them all. I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. I'm going to capture that one as uploaded and pending approval. So recall, we recently loaded just this handful. This one, you're going to see an email come from me about it to JJ and try to get some clarity on that one for now. And then we just went ahead and processed these. We've processed them in our spreadsheet. I'm going to hit save. Normally, if I was done for that time being, I would go ahead and close this file, but I'm going to leave it open because I am going to go continue to do some more invoices. The other thing I would do is these were all for October invoices, even though today is November. It's just a little bit of timing due to the inbox issue. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep that one there. I don't want to open them. I want to deal with that one in Insight Children's, stored, Rachel, and Studio. I'm going to move those to the October folder, and I'm going to untag these because I don't need them tagged anymore because I've already dealt with them. I'm also going to go to the sent folder and pull all of these. And I'm going to also copy that over to October and get that out of, I see my inbox and my sent quote box as kind of the same thing. And so what I like to see over here for October, like in the month, I can easily like not filter, but in essence, filter for the subject, or I can't think of the word I'm thinking of, but put it in order of the subject. And what is nice to see, or what I like to see if I need to, like here was the original invoice that came from the vendor, and then here is me forwarding it from accounts payable to the each and every inbox. So in essence, you should have like vendor email, accounts payable email back to back. And when you don't, it doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't submit it. It may just be slightly different or slightly off where it is located. But yeah, so that's everything for October that has an October date. I am going to come back over here and get this cleaned up a little bit more, and then ping you and let you know that it's good for you to go ahead and start processing these invoices directly going forward, if you will, like for the month of November. Therefore, you can go ahead and start that. What I will show you too, while I have you here, is on this each and every aging report, you will get this weekly from Eunice, and eventually Eunice will be done because we have moved from Eunice distribution to stored. So hopefully this eventually goes away. But this vendor and maybe others will send you like an aging report. What I do with that depends on a lot of things. So like in this case, like I'm getting it as accounts payable. A lot of times they should copy JJ on here, which this one is not. But I'm going to save this as a reference mainly. And then with Eunice, if it started getting to the point where we had a lot of outstanding invoices, I would like work on this one as example. This one is November aging report, and I'm going to save this as the first one, and I'm just going to type Eunice, leave the aging details and the date, and get rid of like their system mumbo jumbo stuff and save that. And then all I'm really going to do for now is I'm just going to save that in other. I don't really do anything with that. Like I said, if there's a lot of units invoices outstanding, and as an example, I'll go ahead and like just show you what I would or could do with it. Go into it for November, the aging report, double click into it. So I can see some stuff here. I think they already have a subtotal, but a lot easier to see the subtotal at the top versus at the bottom, which they do. So there's like $10,000 of invoices outstanding with them. Some of them are past due, some of them are not. This is probably where it gets involved with JJ, that he is managing some outstanding items with them to check, you know, like why, or what's being invoiced or something's wrong with the invoice, etc. I'm just going to kind of filter this for sake of demonstration purposes. I'll just put like my name as reference. I'll delete this column because I don't know why it showed up when they did it. This one's past due. These are all past due and should be in my file. These are all current. So let's see if we have 10,816.98 as invoices still outstanding on our report as well. Kind of as a quick check. So 10,764. So it appears that something might have paid, or let's see what's going on here for curiosity. So 1965.70, I still have that one over here. I'm going to bold and highlight that. 2194.37, 2177, 586.40. They should kind of be in the same order. 2024, 82 cents. This is where it's getting a little out of hand with units. I don't know why they're charging us like ridiculous additional handling for random things. 931 is related to invoice 732. This 931 is 732 invoice 1344.20, 2596, 528, 930, 510, and 41 cents. So there was an invoice that did not show up on my list for I'm also going to insert a couple more rows up here so I can do a quick kind of calculation. So I am showing a total of 7,674. And the difference between their report and my report is $52.12, which is going to be these two line items. I'm also going to save this as Valerie notes 1A versus like their original file that I copied. I'm going to check for general curiosity if sorry, excuse me. I had to sneeze and I couldn't stop the recording. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to search for that invoice number. This number. I go back over to Bill. This one actually says paid. This is one of those ones where it oddly picked up the wrong amount, and I've mentioned this to JJ. We actually paid them slightly more than the invoice, $42.81. Note this invoice in bill.com paid 104.48 on where did we pay this? We paid on 9/22/25. 448 on 9/22/25. Invoice had a credit amount on it that wasn't picked up by system and was approved in total by E&E approver and the user. Should have actually gotten caught by one of them since it looks like I entered the wrong amount. And then 9/31 is this invoice. We'll go back over here. Do that. This one also says it's paid 9/31 on 10/22. Most likely you get caught up with that. And then if it's not those two, which is the total of 5212, then our report outstanding invoices would match to theirs. I am going to save this, and I will send an email to them related to those particularly two invoices. And I will copy you and JJ on it, and we will be good to go. Highlighted at the end. So, so again, like if I was done for the day or the evening related to each and every invoices, another easy quick check as it relates to your outstanding list. It's showing an outstanding waiting to be approved of 24 invoices. If you go over here and do 25%, 24 invoices, 24 invoices. It's kind of an easy check, like before you log off of everything. Okay, hey, there's 24 invoices in my outstanding database that need first approval that I can easily see as first approval over here, 24 invoices. If you wanted, by random chance, was there the same number and not the right people, you could do Allison has 1, Lauren has 1, and JJ has 19. You could go over here and say, okay, Allison has 1. Lauren has 1. JJ has 19, which is valid. And why is it showing Taylor on this list? It's showing Taylor. I'm betting that Taylor went in and approved these sort of while we were in there. So let's just check. Which is interesting. So let me do something here. I'm curious now. So completion of 25% is showing me 24 invoices, which is right. It's 24 over here. Oh, things that are making me question my sanity sometimes. But Taylor is no longer showing up. Okay, we're going to look up this because I'm betting she might be in here approving invoices as we are in here as well, which she's not, which makes sense. So that's still pending. Let me go back over here. Just out of curiosity, check this. Also pending. Pending. So why isn't Taylor showing up in that list? Tell you what, Manuel, sometimes you can lose your mind. That is bizarre and interesting all at the same time. Because in fact, it is showing 24 invoices, and it's showing 24 invoices over here too. So hold on. All right, so I'm going to end this video, but that was to show you end-to-end invoice processing for each and every, as a reminder of kind of what we did a couple weeks ago. I will go ahead and clean up that inbox up to a point, and then let you know when you can go ahead and start processing those invoices for yourself directly. Thanks. Take care. Bye. Stop recording.